NBC 26 Live at 10, You Ask, We Investigate. A Two Rivers family is outraged after they say a school liaison officer used excessive force on their daughter.
Hiring freeze, the first reactions to Governor Walker's newest UW system budget cuts, causing some concern at UW Oshkosh.
And dangerous lead, thousands poisoned every year in Wisconsin. Find out how to protect your children in tonight's special assignment. But we begin with your first forecast with Cameron Moreland. The wind is whipping outside tonight.
I thought it was wind chill negative.
It
but
feels like
Cameron
it.
says, no, it's not. But you thought the same thing when you walked in.
I did, but we do know it is nasty
Crazy.
cold out there.
Yep.
Yeah, Mino, the fact that you think the wind chill is so cold just shows you how mild it's been the last couple of weeks. Well, here's your school day forecast. You can expect a mixture of sun and clouds with temperatures ranging from the middle single digits to the middle teens. We'll call it 10. Back to you.
You Ask, We Investigate. A Two Rivers family is irate after they say a school liaison officer used excessive force, knocking their 13-year-old daughter to the ground.
So tonight, the family is looking for some answers, wondering how in the world this incident got so out of hand. NBC 26's Raquel Lamal takes a closer look.
The girl was trying to leave school when the officer knocked her feet out from under her, a situation the family is trying hard to understand. The Two Rivers Police Department stands by their training and the officer involved. The Bianchetti family says they're looking at alternatives for schooling for their daughter. In the Green Bay newsroom, Raquel Lamal, NBC 26.
If you have a serious issue or concern you'd like us to investigate, email us at youask@NBC26.com or call 920-490-2662. Your tip could be our next You Ask, We Investigate report.
University of Wisconsin System President Ray Cross sent a letter to system school leaders today asking them to start taking money-saving steps right away following Governor Walker's announcement to slash the UW system's funding. Now, this has led to a hiring freeze at UW Oshkosh, but could this be just the start of more cost-saving measures across the system? NBC 26's Alex Hagan has more from Oshkosh.
Stacey, in Governor Walker's spending plan that he will present next week, he plans to cut $300 million from the UW system, and also to discuss this proposal. In Oshkosh, Alex Hagan, NBC 26.
UW Green Bay Chancellor Gary Miller released a statement today about the proposed budget cuts, saying, quote, I want to join President Cross in expressing deep disappointment with the suggestion by Governor Walker that university faculty and staff do not work as hard as they could. Governor Walker is in the process of positioning himself as a serious contender for a presidential nomination. With trips planned to key primary states, political analyst Michael Kraft says Walker is making sure his name and message are well known everywhere.
It is typical that the early effort is fairly low key. It's an effort to see, am I winning the audience? Do they like what I have to say?
Governor Walker formed an exploratory committee this week that will handle his campaign spending and has launched a website and video.
Part of Highway 45 near New London is shut down tonight after a two-car crash. Outagamie County deputies have closed the road in both directions between Highways 15 and 54 while they clean up the site, and they work to figure out exactly what happened. 3 people were taken to an area hospital with unknown injuries. The on-ramp from Atkinson Drive to northbound I-43 in Green Bay is reopened tonight. That's after a tanker truck overturned. Police say the trailer became unhitched from the truck. The ramp was closed for about 2 hours. Nobody was hurt. Ashwaubenon public safety officers warning drivers tonight to be on the lookout for a possible police impersonator.
Yeah, they say a 16-year-old girl was pulled over on Highway 72, but police don't have any record of that stop. The possible impersonator was driving what looked to be a Crown Victoria with red and blue lights. He even wore a badge. Police say it's okay to call them or drive to a safer place if you feel uneasy while being pulled over.
You can continue to drive within the law, within the speed limits and traffic regulations to a well-lit, populated place such as a convenience store or a shopping mall or someplace where there would be other people or witnesses.
Police describe the man as white with slightly darker skin, between 5'8" and 5'10", and weighing about 200 pounds. Students at a Green Bay driving school will need to find a new option for classes after its sudden closure. The Department of Motor Vehicles says Excel Driving Center is no longer in operation. The department says it will work with students to find other companies to help finish their courses and get back lost tuition payments. Coming up live at 10, see how your home could be causing your child to have behavioral problems. It's tonight's special assignment.
Plus, it's high school basketball with an interesting twist in this game, and that's all for a great cause.
And temperatures tonight are running 5 to almost 15 degrees colder than just 24 hours ago. And this is just the beginning of the cool down. Your 10-day forecast is coming up next.
NBC 26 live at 10. Welcome to your official Packers station with Justin Hall and Bill Schrader. The official game breakdown starts now on the NBC 26 postgame show.
And welcome to Lambeau Field. The preseason finally over. He's Bill Schrader. I'm Justin Hall. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers' 34-14 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. And as I mentioned before, Bill, the preseason's finally over. We get some regular season football right around the corner.
Finally, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Can't wait for that to start.
Well, let's take a look at tonight's action. I mentioned 34-14, a lot of Green Bay Packer touchdowns. We pick it up in quarter number one. Matt Flynn getting the start here tonight, and he finds Devontae Adams 22 yards over the middle. A real great play to start, the scoring. Miles White, the exclamation point on the preseason, getting the Packers to 34, and that's how the scoring ended.
It was a great game to watch. I tell you, at times it wasn't eventful, but there was a lot of exciting plays.
Yeah, a lot of exciting plays, a lot of young players making plays, maybe some big roster decisions coming up for the Green Bay Packers. Ted Thompson needing to be down to 53 players by Saturday at 3 o'clock. Well, let's go to Dan Koob inside of Lambeau Field. He's standing by. The crowd's rowdy, and as we mentioned before, Dan, everyone's thrilled the preseason's finally over.
Everyone, Justin. Everyone is thrilled the preseason's over, but these fans are still here. Packers fever, preseason style. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. You just can't fake that sort of enthusiasm, Justin and Bill. Hey, great show lined up tonight. We're going to hear from head coach Mike McCarthy coming up in just a little bit. I'm going to throw it back to you guys for now, but we have a great show lined up. Make sure you stay tuned.
We looked at some of the highlights, Bill. Let's take a look at some plays that stood out to us throughout the night, and we're going to start with the quarterback play because that quarterback competition behind Aaron Rodgers really heating up. Matt Flynn, Scott Tolzien, I think each doing some good things. Flynn got the start, as we mentioned before, and a couple of nice scoring drives there in the first quarter. And I think each of those guys brings something different to the table, and it's a really interesting decision that the Packers are going to have to make. Do they keep two? Do they keep three? Or are we looking at both of those guys on there? Who's the backup? I mean, so many different ways this can go.
That's the question of the year. Are we keeping two or three quarterbacks? I think we'll talk about it, but I'm going with Tolzien. He's a Wisconsin guy. I really think he's played himself into that position.
And another standout player too, Jaron Elliott. Elliott 5 sacks in the preseason. He had another one tonight. He limped off the field for a little bit there. I think a lot of people were worried, Bill, but he came back on the field at the end, and I'm sure a lot of people are happy. He'll be an interesting roster decision.
He's had a great camp, and he really opened up my eyes today. He did a great job. You even alluded to him today that he's going to get a roster spot, and I think he did a great job. He had the sack. Again, yes, he got injured, he came back, and he made some more plays.
And a couple of running backs, too, impressive tonight, looking at James Starks as well as Ladarius Perkins.
This is a tough decision that these guys are going to have to make this year. I really think that Starks secured the position that he has, but a lot of these other guys, I don't know what to say. I'm glad I'm not in that position to make this call.
Yeah, Perkins could be an eventual roster or practice squad player if he's able to clear waivers and the Packers are able to put him there. So Adrian Hubbard had a nice game. He had a sack there at the end. And how about Jeff Janis in the return game? He had that long return at the end. I'm just kind of waiting for something to happen with the returns. And Janis was able to break that one. And it was, it was good to see. Good to see for the 7th round pick from the small school. I'm sure you enjoy seeing that from him.
I've got his back. Being a 6th round pick, I'm coming from lacrosse. I really hope he has a chance to make this team. I think he solidified his spot. He's a great player. He's got a lot of potential. And working with a guy like Scott Tolzien, who I think is a great leader on this team, can really help him.
Well, we heard from Dan Koob in in Lambeau Field. Let's go to the atrium. Alex Hagan standing by with some more fan reaction.
A lot of fans coming and going here in the atrium. I'm actually joined by Gary Podesky. He's from La Crosse. And Gary, I understand you've been coming to games since 1968.
1968 was my first game right after the Ice Bowl. If they get rid of one or the other, I just don't know how you can go into this year with just two.
Well, guys, that's all we have for right now. We'll see you back later. We'll have more fan reaction coming up later in the show.
All right, thanks, Alex. And now we go back inside Lambeau, live at the podium, head coach Mike McCarthy.
Very hopeful of the 75 men on our roster, but all 63 of our opportunities come from that. This is really kind of a normal process that you go through every year in the NFL. Thank you. Thank you.
Those roster cutdowns are made this weekend. When we return here on your official Packers station, we'll talk about those cuts and a few players Bill and I have our eye on heading into the weekend. More coming up here from Lambeau Field.
Power problems, thousands in the dark tonight as WPS crews work around the clock to repair damage caused by a series of storms. Ruined restaurant. Cleanup is underway as crews try to figure out what caused a destructive fire at a popular Marinette County supper club. And football highlights. Larry McCarron breaks down the night's best high school games from around Northeast Wisconsin. It's our big story at 10. Thousands are without electricity tonight after a series of storms wipes out power lines across Northeast Wisconsin. At the height of the outage, WPS says more than 50,000 customers were in the dark. But after having more than 400 crews working nonstop, that number has dropped to just over 6,000. People in the Northwoods hit the hardest by Thursday's storms. Neighbors recovering from loss of power and damage to their properties. NBC 26's Alex Hagan begins our live team coverage.
Stacey, a WPS spokesperson, says it was the longevity of the storm that caused so many outages, but crews are working nonstop restoring power, so neighbors, they're thankful for that. Now, as for an estimated timetable when all power will be back on, crews say tomorrow afternoon is a good guess. Alex Hagan, NBC 26.
Thank you, Alex. After 8 inches of rain fell in some parts of Door County overnight, homeowners there are facing thousands of dollars in damage. Many have been cleaning up all day and are far from being done. NBC 26's Deandra Corinthios has the story.
Up to my knee in water, and we're pumping it out, and it's coming in as fast as we're pumping it. It's going to be very expensive.
In Bailey's Harbor, Deandra Corinthios, NBC 26.
If you need to call a restoration company for help, you might have a hard time getting an appointment. Some companies say they're booked through the weekend. This Dollar General store on Green Bay's east side felt the storms in a different way. A lightning strike caused $15,000 in roof damage just after 9 o'clock last night. The store was closed today. There's no word when it will reopen. Anytime severe weather threatens Northeast Wisconsin, NBC 26 has you covered. Just go to our website, NBC26.com, and click on the Weather tab. There you'll find interactive radar and details on the latest alerts. Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland joins us now with your first forecast. Lots of storms, a lot of rain over the last 24 hours. Is it going to quiet down a little bit now, Cameron?
It is beginning to quiet down now, Stacey, across Northeast Wisconsin. You can expect abundant sunshine with temperatures ranging from the mid-40s to the mid-50s. Stacey?
Investigators are looking for the cause of a fire that damaged a Marinette County supper club. That blaze broke out at Schaefer's Supper Club in the town of Stevenson near Crivets just after 5 o'clock this morning. NBC 26's Cassandra Duval has more.
And our menu is just chicken or fish, and that's it. And they come for mostly the chicken. We hope it's rebuilt. We want to come back. If we could, we'd be here tomorrow.
In the town of Stevenson, Cassandra Duval, NBC 26.
Fire crews say it appears the fire started on the south side of the building, likely in the kitchen. It's unclear at this point if the supper club will be rebuilt. 2 Sturgeon Bay men behind bars tonight after a 2-month-long joint investigation and a search warrant on a Sturgeon Bay business and apartment. Investigators say they found hidden cameras along with several hundred images and movies of child pornography. A 37-year-old and 26-year-old man are now facing charges. A 74-year-old bus driver is on leave tonight after investigators say they believe he failed to yield to a car, which may have caused a fatal school bus crash near Pulaski. That crash shut down Highway 29 for several hours Tuesday night when a car rear-ended the bus. A passenger in the car was killed. 14 people were hurt. The bus was carrying the Pulaski High School volleyball team. Tanette Walker spent the afternoon at UW Green Bay today. Community members joined Wisconsin's First Lady at the Coffrin Memorial Arboretum for the 36th annual Walk with Walker to promote health and wellness, as well as to take the time to explore Wisconsin's natural beauty. Coming up next on NBC 26, the Packers-Seahawks game on NBC 26 gave Tonight Show host Jimmy Fallon plenty of material prior to the game. Don't worry, the Seahawks get their fair share. Plus, some changes in store for our weather. Cameron has your exclusive 10-day forecast when we come back.
NBC 26 live at 10.
NBC 26 live at 10. Paychecks possibly suspended. Local veterans worried about making ends meet if the government shutdown drags on. Pier problems, more sinking on the Leo Frigo Bridge, and a detour change by the DOT. Plus, public apology, what this Detroit Lions player is pledging to do after yelling obscenities at the UW marching band.
And I'm Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland. Is there an end in sight to this beautiful weather? Yes, there is. I'll have your forecast.
The government shutdown is our big story at 10.
We're not going to pay a ransom for America paying its bills. That's something that should be non-negotiable.
President Obama telling House Speaker John Boehner today a deal needs to be made. But Boehner maintains the president isn't willing to negotiate.
What the president said today was, if there's unconditional surrender by Republicans, he'll sit down and talk to us. That's not the way our government works.
8 days into the government shutdown and the debt ceiling is approaching. Tonight, both sides are holding their ground. The government shutdown, a cause for concern for local veterans offices and those they serve. 7,000 Veteran Affairs workers furloughed today, but there's an even greater impact if this goes on for some time. NBC 26's Alex Hagan begins our live team coverage.
Stacey, veterans won't have to worry about their medical care put on hold, but those checks they receive monthly could stop if this shutdown continues for a few more weeks. Now, members of disabled American veterans here in Wisconsin are urging veterans to contact representatives and senators to explain their situation. Alex Hagan, NBC 26.
The government shutdown is delaying benefits to families of fallen service members. Wisconsin Marine Lance Corporal Jeremiah Collins, just 19 years old, was killed in Afghanistan on Saturday. Families of the fallen are supposed to receive money to help with funeral and other expenses, but those payments are on hold. It means Collins' family couldn't fly to Dover Air Force Base in Delaware to be there for the return of their loved one.
There's somebody who needs to fly their family home, and to know that the government shutting down will delay their ability to handle their business. Some people just won't be able to do it.
A senior Pentagon official told NBC News they hope to find a way around the problem soon. The government shutdown also means parks that receive federal funding, like Nicolet National Forest and Horicon Marsh, are supposed to close their doors. But the Wisconsin DNR is taking a stand. NBC 26's Raquel Lamel continues our live team coverage.
7 parks across the state were asked to close their doors after the government shutdown. But the DNR says most of the money for those parks doesn't come from the federal government, and they're fighting to keep those parks open. Although most state parks are staying open, if you do see a closed sign on the gate, don't enter, because park rangers are patrolling the area and could give you a ticket. Raquel Lamel, NBC 26.
For more information on what is and is not affected by the partial shutdown, just go to our website, NBC26.com, and click on this story on our homepage. The Leo Frigo Bridge is sinking again. The DOT says Pier 22 sank another 1/4 inch over the weekend, but they believe they know the cause of this latest settling.
We think it settled the ½ inch because of all the work we did around the pier. And this ½ inch, we had quite a bit of rain over the weekend. We think that might have contributed to it a little bit.
Also today, transportation leaders announced a detour change during the bridge closure. They're asking drivers to use highways 41 and 172 as the official route to keep interstate traffic out of downtown Green Bay. Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland joins us now. It does not feel like October at all outside.
That's right, Stacy. Today's warmth continues this evening. The sun will be up, and the northern lights and the meteors will go away. Temperatures will be in the lower 50s. The warm air is going to stick around, Stacy.
All right, thanks, Cameron. New at 10, Oshkosh police have taken a suspect into custody in a recent child enticement case. Officers say the man tried to lure 3 kids into his car Saturday on Weisbrod Street. Investigators are sending recommended charges to the Winnebago County District Attorney's Office. 21-year-old Shamika Robinson is charged with armed robbery tonight after a September 26th holdup at the Express Convenience Center in Bellevue. She was arrested Friday at her Green Bay home. Robinson is being held on a $7,500 cash bond. Apologies tonight from an NFL player accused of verbally harassing the University of Wisconsin marching band at Lambeau Field on Sunday. Dan Koob is here now. And tell us more about this apology.
Well, the center is taking steps to sort of mend fences, Stacy, after insulting multiple band members of sexual orientation and physical appearance that offended not only members of the band, but the general public. As a part of his apology, Raiola will make a donation to the band, which will not be disclosed, and he will not be fined by the Lions for his actions.
All right, so case closed, I guess you could say.
I think so.
All right, thanks, Dan. Well, 3 major development projects in downtown Green Bay are moving forward tonight. City leaders approving a loan guarantee for 2 apartment complexes in the heart of Titletown with 177 new units between the 2. Developers also revealing new designs for the KI Convention Center expansion, which will connect the Hyatt and the Clarion hotels.
This really looks like a high-quality building, and as he explained, some of the finishings on the inside are awesome. This is more of a Marriott standard versus, a typical convention center.
All 3 projects are expected to break ground by the end of the year. Coming up next on NBC 26, a new school coming to Green Bay, how it may help a specific group of students stay in school. Plus, this Green Bay man makes a very special donation today to the Packers Hall of Fame.
And although it's very busy in outer space right now, it is quiet here on the surface of Earth. How long is this quiet weather going to last? I'll have your forecast coming up next.
NBC 26 Live at 10 with Stacey Ingebretson, Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland, and Sports Director Larry McCarran. This is NBC 26 Live at 10, your official Packers station.